they either meant to like frame me for actually stealing a chart from the office, because then they could make an issue out of it, that, you know, I'd supposedly stolen a classified chart, because they definitely, their efforts to frame me seem to be able to, with a goal of to get their hands on me to abduct me under color of authority. So whether with a criminal frame-up or a mental health frame-up, to abduct me under color of authority channels, so that then they could have more of a free-for-all with testing the stuff they want to test and drugging me with, and want to drug me with, etc. So,
they mostly operate through the administrative courts, I've noticed.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was in this process, there was something I'm very upset about that was done. It literally didn't last more than like a couple of weeks. That was very short-lived, but I'm still feeling the need and at least the desire to get it addressed further. The person believed to be my mother managed to get guardianship over me, maybe technically a conservatorship as well, and there was literally no due process. I literally was not even given proper notice. I only heard that any of this happened because between my mother and my stepfather, they were cackling and talking about it and laughing about it and bragging about it, whatever. And I was being kept in a drugged haze at the time. It's very obvious to me when I listen back to files, including actually this file, but it's not in the part I'm going to play here, but I'm going to end up giving people a link to where they can check these things. It's on my YouTube channel. They're all uploaded on the channel is CHINYEREDOTCOM. And so basically, when I said someone's somebody's got to make her get that chart, they either were referring to that, or they might have been referring to getting like a false diagnosis chart on me. So those are the two possibilities I'm thinking from context is what they meant. I'm not sure which. And what happened is when I luckily was able to function enough that I reached out to a very kind, very bright professor that I had audited his criminal justice workshops. And actually, because it was years ago in the 90s, and because I was always afraid, because these people were always trying to frame me already. But it wasn't like multiple times a year, like it's become. And I told him, I have people, including my parents, keep trying to frame me every so often. And so I understand you're like the best criminal defense attorney in the nation, and if you could let me sit in on your classes. And he was very, very kind and accommodating. And so I reached out to him. It was Professor Charles Ogletree, and I told him what they were doing, that they're just illegitimately trying to take away all my rights, get guardianship over me, maybe conservatorship too. And he said he would help me. And the next thing, very soon after, well, there's two things that stick out. One is he tried to get in contact with the president of University of Maryland, Baltimore County, because a lot of these activities are apparently being done through psychological operations groups, which fall under military intelligence, and they seem to be getting done for sure at University of Maryland, Baltimore County. I can think of at least half a dozen parties that were involved that I found out about because of what was being done to me on that campus, and they had assigned a highly shielded serial rapist to target me and other scholars on that campus, and he was a psychology major. And off-campus law enforcement never were willing to even open an investigation into somebody who was a documented serial rapist. So that the university president was not willing to return any phone call from my former professor. So that's very strange, because this professor also, in addition to being well recognized in academia, he was a legal advisor to President Obama. He was the former law professor of President Obama, I think maybe of First Lady Obama as well. And so it's really, really telling that, helps to show how I can't get help and other people targeted can't get help. Professor Ogletree could not get a call back. So, and then the other thing that's very worrisome is now, and I would not say except it's publicly publicly said he's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I know that these people have been doing things to actually induce serious health problems, including especially neurological and cancer. So I'm very suspicious if they somehow induced at least the symptoms, and hopefully it might not really be like sometimes they, along with inducing the symptoms, they get a false diagnosis. And so if you realize that the actual diagnosis is that you're having the neurological effects of being targeted by their neurological weapons, then that might have a better prognosis of being able to recover than if you really have, a natural process taking place that, that cannot, be as readily fixed by making, people stop directing something at you or stop blowing poison into your space.
Wow.
If it's a good time, I'll switch to, if somebody's asked a question and then meanwhile in the chat, go ahead and tell me. If not, I'm going to switch this to speakerphone. I think that might help pick up. And then, and it will be on speakerphone, so I'll hear you if you need to tell me that you couldn't hear something or what have you. And I'll go ahead and try to play this file set.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. Let me see. Oops. Sorry, bear with me a sec. Now my phone's doing something else. Oh, there, the speaker. Okay.
How many
years,
real quick question.
Go ahead.
How many years have you been documenting online?
Oh, that's a great question, and actually very perfectly timed, as it turns out. This is the start. When I started regularly documenting, it was when all this activity happened with this, quote, audio engineering consultant on the heels of that suspicious injection into my arm by one of this network's doctors. And they moved this man in to a nearby apartment within 3 days of shepherding me to that apartment building. I overheard some things that literally apparently they had arranged to swap out. Like whoever was there, they got that person out of there. And just within 3 days' time, just so they could put this audio engineering consultant there.
So,
2007.
If you wanted to look into your research, where can they go?
Oh, yes, sorry. Facebook.com/SNOEOAWC is the acronym pronounced Snowyok. It stands for Stop Non-Consensual Experiments on All World Citizens. So it's Facebook.com/SNOEOAWC.
Awesome. Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. Me. Oh, it's making me put it back, but I'd made a draft where I noted where all to start everything. So, oh wait, bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, 340. Okay, let me move this up to 340. All of these are in my video playlist on youtube.com/Chinyere.com, CHIN as in Nancy, YEREDOTCOM. And this one is the file called Urgent Attempted Setups Continuing in Alabama. And, okay, what he said was someone should make her get that chart. And then my stepfather's voice was the one that says, I hope so. So let me get it back up to 340. It's almost there. Okay, here. Were you able to hear that?
Not very well.
Okay, hold on. Let me actually, maybe I'll take it off of speaker, because I noticed my voice, I think, sounds better off of speaker. I don't know if maybe the files might also sound better off of speaker. Let me try it one more time like that. And let me, taking it back to 340. Could you hear that?
A little better, yeah.
Okay, so I'll leave it actually off of speaker. So then I'm going to exit that one. Let's come here. Okay, this one, let's see. He said, I'm going to tell you real quick what I was able to transcribe. The transcription is with the file. This is the one called MK Ultra Audio Series, Toronto, mid-2007, entry 1. So it's part of the set of one's labeled entry 1, 2, and 3, and then there's another one called Online Publishing Targeted, which is kind of like entry 4. So this one, as best as I could make out, he said, and they want the woman, nice lady, young woman. And then he was talking to someone else over his phone, but we could hear his voice. I called him a field coordinator because that seems to be his function. He said, check, check. And the audio engineering consultant said, sorry, I can't hear you. And the other one said, check if, and then call him PF because they were calling him, I think those are his initials. They would call him, if not, the audio engineering consultant, they would call him PF. So he said, oh, okay, no. One of the people has got a gun. And then the guy on the phone, field coordinator, said, Guyana? And then the PF said, yeah, he's back Monday. And then the guy on the phone said, okay, get her on Monday then. And then PF said, yeah, I'll move. Okay. So it starts here. Were you able to hear that? He's back Monday, and he says, okay, get her on Monday then. He's like, yeah, I'll move, okay.
Okay. Yeah, not as well as the other one, but I was able to hear it.
Oh, I might have made a mistake. I was trying to figure out where the microphone might be, and so I moved, because I think on my iPhone, I think the microphone is where the charging port thing is, okay. And so I thought maybe that's where it is on here, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's let me see. Let me go back real quick. 109. 109. Okay. Hold on. That. Will it help if I say, he just said, sorry, I can't hear you? Right there. That's where he said, oh, okay, no. One of the people has got a gun. The guy on the phone said, Guyana? And then he just said, yeah, he's back.
So
that's when he just said, okay, get her on Monday then.
Wow.
And then, so I'm going to close that one. I think, at least, hopefully some of these might be a bit better, but
I want to share with you some more. Oh, go ahead.
It was the same circumstance, it was, I did check with lawyers that it was legal, so that's the good news, but the circumstance is why it's hard. I think maybe an expert can help to clear out background noise or so, and raise the volume of the foreground stuff. But what happened is they were having meetings in that apartment where they moved this guy in, and he was involved in these meetings, and they were figuring out how they're going to get me and this and that, and so that was the most acutely endangering, probably, when they were planning to actually abduct me at gunpoint. So with somebody from Guyana who had the gun, and they were talking about this in Toronto in 2007. I'd just gone back to there from Colorado, United States. So, I also started to notice the pattern of these multiple countries, right, parties. Anyway, and that great-grandfather I mentioned, that was Minister of Health and Housing for Guyana, he went to medical school in Canada. So that might also be no coincidence. And then my parents, where they got connected up, at least that I know about, with University Autonoma de Guadalajara Medical School. And apparently they also literally have some kind of front society there. Amazing Polly talks about it in a video that she did on, I'm still getting through the video, but she did it on cults and how cults are used to get control over people. And she found these strange connections with doctors that went through there and that were connected with other like front organization people from Jonestown and all. So